Elon Musk says self-growing city on the moon. But what does he mean by self-growing? And what should he mean? Elon Musk has just made a shift in his plans and he has dropped Mars in favor of the moon. Well, not dropped as such, he's still headed for Mars, but he intends to build a town on the moon before his city on Mars. What do we think about that? And what has he actually said? What are the plans?
Well, from the little bit that I've read, it sounds like the pivot is more because he wants to put data centers in orbit. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
And I think that because it's a profit center, right? A lot of money could be made by putting data centers in orbit. And you're not going to do that from Mars.
Yeah, producing AI is a huge money spin. Uh,
Yeah,
a lot of people earn a lot of money on that, and yeah, it
right,
might be sustainable. Who do
right.
I know? What do I know?
And I read that they just bought some AI company like XAI or something and are integrating
I
it
think
into SpaceX. He's very interested in AI.
yes, and AI needs a lot of power, and power you don't have on Earth. It's kind of already saturated the use of power, so building a lot of power satellites would solve the power problem for the AI centers. So you put them distributed in orbit was the first thought. That's too expensive, he found out, and so it will be cheaper to build a town on the moon and then have that town produce those AI satellites. I think the AI center is not supposed to be on the moon, but just the production of the satellites.
Well, what I read
Not
is
quite
that
sure.
he wants to build a town on the moon to make the AI satellites and then make a
Yeah.
mass driver and throw them back into Earth orbit.
Yes.
And
That's
it
that sounds.
seems like a long way to get there when if Starship ever actually is operational, it can lift a significant amount of tonnage up into orbit. Why not just build the satellites here and just launch them on Starship instead of going to all the expense and trouble of building a settlement and a railgun and, well, sorry, mass driver. Although, as
Yeah.
anybody who's read The Moon is a Harsh Mistress knows, that mass driver can be turned into a railgun pretty easily.
Yes, it's the same hardware.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
just a
much.
question of where you aim.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm
So
I'm all for orbital data centers because yeah, they use a lot of energy, which is problematic on Earth, but they also generate a lot of heat, which is also a problem. So orbital data centers, that makes sense. Whether building a town and a mass driver is the best way to go about it, who knows? But I'm all for anybody wanting to spend money on the moon. So
I agree. No, I think that it said in one of his tweets that he had done the scaling calculations and found out that sending all of that mass up from Earth is too expensive. It's much cheaper to do it on the moon, and then you have, of course, have to produce the satellites on the moon as well. So you need a town for that.
yeah, see,
Uh,
I'm not sure about that because to produce the satellites on the moon and to build the mass driver on the moon and to build the settlement on the moon is a fairly hefty price tag, not including that all that technology needs to be developed and then tested and put into
yeah, well,
place. So,
most of it would have to be tested and put in place anyway. So I think there
um,
isn't that much different.
no, not if your end goal is
It
to
it
put
is,
satellites up.
but it's a lot of satellites. I'm not sure how many zeros it was, so I'm not going to say anything. But it was staggering. It
Yeah,
was a
well,
billion satellites.
building a settlement and a mass driver is pretty staggering too. So,
Yep.
But like I
So it's
said,
an order of sequence there.
if he wants to spend money and time on building that kind of technology, great. Even if it doesn't work, we'll now
Yeah.
have that technology. So,
Yeah, and the town on the moon. I don't care what the town does. And
well,
in particular, I like that he's talking about making it self-growing, which brings us to the next point in my list of points here. Self-growing. I like the concept. It is essentially the same to me that I have been using self-sufficient. I don't think Mr. Musk has exactly the same definition as I. It's probably closer to you in that. Does his concept of self-growing make sense, or should we just hijack it and put other meaning in it?
I don't know what his concept of self-growing is. I mean, I've heard the term in the articles that I read,
Uh,
but there's no definition. I mean, the assumption
no,
is that they would be self-sufficient and they would be able to grow at their own rate and whatever, and not need Earth input. But that's an assumption. I don't know if he's going to build a town whose job is to mine, refine, and build AI satellites and then launch them. It's probably going to be a company town, right? Because why not?
yes,
It's there
sounds
for
like
a very
that to me.
specific purpose. It's not
Yeah,
necessarily a self-sufficient settlement that's autonomous. It's a base. It's basically a base.
yeah. So that, yeah, no, I agree. His intention with it is, well, he isn't adverse to it becoming a permanent settlement. That's part of what he's talking about. We should be a multiplanetary society. But I agree, it sounds from the purpose and background like this is going to be a company town, and the purpose of it is to extract whatever needs extracting and throw it into Earth orbit.
Yeah. I mean, and
So,
again, I'm all for it because all that technology needs to be developed for a settlement anyway. So settlement, company town, sure, why not? It'll put the technology on the shelf which other people can use.
I see another risk, which is just assuming that a mining town is built, and that is that the moon is depleted of necessary resources for settlement, because hydrogen can be used as fuel. So just split the water into hydrogen and oxygen and burn it, and then there is no hydrogen left once they have put up those satellites, and the settlement can't grow anymore.
Again, I think it's going to be more of a company town where it's probably not going to have families, probably not going to have, it's going to be people up there working and then being rotated in and out.
Yes, so that's a fear of mine as well. It is a town, but it's as in big place with a lot of workers, but
Mhm.
they don't actually live there. They go there to work for a shift of a year, maybe.
Yeah. It'll be
There will
like
be long
McMurdo.
shift because shipping them is expensive.
Yeah, it'll be like McMurdo Station. People go in, they do their job, they come home. That's it.
Yeah. Except it's
Because,
bigger than
oh, go ahead.
McMurdo if you're going to have an industry.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, McMurdo could have an industry. I mean, its industry is science. So, but if they decided that, hey, we want to mine something, it's a platform for it, right? If they could put mining equipment down there and put miners in, and the problem with all of that is that making a mining town into a settlement is at least an order of magnitude harder, right? It needs more infrastructure, it needs more stuff to make it into a town as opposed to just a mining operation. And that is not
Yeah.
necessarily going to make them money by investing into making it into an actual settlement.
No, so there, but I think there's still an opportunity there because there will be people going to and from the moon, so it will be somewhat cheaper than it is now to stay.
Yeah, and and maybe Musk will put the money
You
into
have
it.
you have at least part of the infrastructure available.
Part of it, yeah. And maybe Musk will put all the money into it necessary because he wants to build Martian cities. So why not build lunar cities as a test bed for the technology? Because all that technology
Yeah,
for Mars has to be developed anyway. None of it is ready to go. So why not do it on the moon and then modify it for Mars? So maybe
yeah,
there will
it's
be a settlement. Who knows? Well, I mean, even if the goal was to build a self-sufficient settlement, and that was the goal. Forget about the orbital, data
yeah.
center AIs and the mass driver and all that. If the goal was just to build a self-sufficient settlement, it would still take a lot of input from Earth over a lot of years before it ever reached that capability. Because there's no way you can just plop down a settlement and say, "Yep, you're self-sufficient now." It's not going to work.
No, yeah, and part of the reason for that is that we have. I wouldn't say lost the ability to do it on Earth, but we don't actually do it. There is no place on Earth that is actually self-sufficient,
Mhm. Yeah.
except possibly a Hamish settlement or
Yeah.
other religious low-tech organizations.
I'm sure there are places where people are living relatively self-sufficient at a low tech level. But that is not really an analog to building a settlement on the moon. I mean, you have to have a significant tech level to make that happen.
One argument he had was that building a town on the moon takes 10 years, building a town on Mars takes 20 years. So we do it on the moon
Okay.
because the Earth is dangerous at the moment. So we have to do it fast.
Well, I can't disagree with that. I've said for a while that our window for actually doing any of this in space is closing. So, yeah, fine. Let's do Moon first. It's closer, it's easier, relatively speaking, than Mars. Makes sense.
Yep. Anyway, what do we think about this change in plans on a scale from 1 to 10?
I don't know, five.
Five is kind of neutral, lukewarm, I would say,
That's
on the
kind of where I'm
scale.
at with this. It's all talk at this point. Until we actually start seeing things being built and launched, I think that, it's too early to say if it's good or bad. It's just a declaration. There's nothing concrete that's been planned out, or at least told to us. Maybe SpaceX has very detailed plans and they're just not releasing them. Fine. Well, like I said, only three organizations that have publicly said that they are going to build something on the moon and are actually putting money into it to do it. And none of them, in my book, deserve that level of trust from humanity. I would be happier if there were a few other organizations out there. I have
Attention is
no
always
idea
good.
about the likelihood of the mining town increasing, but I do think that if there is increased traffic to the moon and we have developed the technology to actually live there, then there's a real possibility that other groups can say, "Hey, I'm booking passage on, this starship with this technology. Drop me off here, and I'm going to create a settlement." Totally unrelated to whatever's happening with SpaceX and Musk. If the
Yes.
technology exists and the transportation exists, then other groups could take advantage of that,
Yes.
regardless of the mine.
Yeah, and regardless of building a mine is a good thing because that will need to have pressurized spaces and crew quarters and greenhouses and a lot of production technology and mining technology in place. And if that is abandoned, so they will be interested in selling that to somebody.
Well, I don't even want to speculate what would happen if, all that effort was put into it and then it was abandoned. I'm just saying with the technology available and the transportation available, other groups could build their own settlements theoretically.
Yes,
And the mine could
yes.
be doing its own
And
thing.
the same. Essentially, what we want is a lot of groups building different settlements, and hopefully a few of them will go off and do something good.
Hopefully, I think that would be the big opportunity here. Is it might be the pathway to open it up to all of humanity at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have put it at 8 or 9. You're saying 5 or 6, as close to nothing as possible.
I say that right now it's a declaration, and until we have more data, there's no reason to get excited about it.
Okay, I'll take that as neutral.
Yeah, I'm neutral on it.
No,
Yep.
not excited is neutral. I'm pretty excited.
Oh,
I'll
good.
give it an 8.
Good. I'm glad you're excited about it.
Okay, so we have decided no, it's way too early to open the champagne bottle. We'll see what happens, and if it happens, then it's good for moon settlement and for humanity because of that,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, I go with that. I think it could go either way,
Good.
good or bad, but we'll just have to see what happens.
What will SpaceX actually build on the moon? A temporary mining town or a growing lunar civilization? Time will tell, but we know what we want. Subscribe if you're here for humanity living in space.